Welcome this stories. It began with a whisper in my heart, a flutter that ignited a fire I couldn't ignore, a sense that something was beautifully, dangerously out of place. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head, a product of fatigue from endless work weeks, that Jayla was merely experiencing a fleeting moment. But deep down, I felt the weight of something unspoken, something that lingered between us, electric and undeniable. Yet, deep down, I understood the truth. 7 years bound together, yet my heart whispered secrets of longing. 7 years of stolen moments, of secret touches beneath the table, of laughter that wrapped around them like a warm embrace. 7 years of thinking we were unbreakable. And then the party arrived, charged with unspoken tension. Jayla had whispered about it all week, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and trepidation. A lavish corporate gala in a towering downtown skyscraper, organized by her company. "It's an important networking event," she whispered, her fingers gliding over the fabric of her dress, as if trying to erase the tension in the air. "You'll be there, won't you?" There was an intensity in her voice that sent a shiver down my spine, stirring feelings I knew I shouldn't entertain. Not because she truly desired my presence, but because she anticipated my refusal. Perhaps that was the reason I couldn't resist saying yes. I slipped into my finest suit, casting a hopeful smile her way as we stepped out together, convincing myself that tonight would be just like any other, that my worries were merely figments of my imagination. As we stepped in, a wave of loneliness washed over me, making me acutely aware of my place in this world. The ballroom shimmered with dazzling chandeliers and smooth marble, where men in tailored suits mingled with women in elegant, curve-hugging gowns. Amidst the laughter and the clinking of glasses, a fleeting glance sparked something unspoken, a connection that felt both thrilling and wrong. Jayla vanished into the throng, her fingers slipping from my grasp, leaving a hollow ache in their wake. I drifted through the crowd, cradling my drink, exchanging fleeting words with faces that slipped from my memory as soon as they turned their backs. But my thoughts were elsewhere. It was all about her. Jayla stood across the room, her laughter mingling with the words of a stranger, and my heart ached with a longing I knew I shouldn't feel. He stood there, a striking figure with chiseled features, dressed in a suit that whispered of luxury and secrets, far beyond my reach. The way he gazed at her held a depth that transcended mere professionalism. It was the way you gaze at a woman who once belonged to you. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head, until her laughter broke the silence. Not the soft laugh she reserved for the office. Not the soft, teasing laugh that escaped her lips when faced with a clumsy attempt at humor. Her genuine laughter, the kind that slipped out when she felt safe, utterly vulnerable. The one that belonged to us. And then his fingers brushed against her skin. A hand rested on her waist, fingers hesitating for a heartbeat too long, thumb grazing the small of her back, whispering secrets only they could understand. She stayed close, heart racing. My heart raced, a wild drum in my chest, as I stood there, paralyzed, the world around me fading into a distant hum. I held my breath, hoping she would pull away, deny it, dismiss it with a laugh, and search for me in the crowd. She couldn't. Instead, she faced him, her heart racing with unspoken desires. "So close. Come nearer." And then, I walked away, my heart heavy with what could never be. I held my breath, keeping the chaos inside, refusing to let it spill over. I held back, my heart racing, unsure if I should confront them or let the moment slip away. I just stepped outside, my heart racing with a mix of exhilaration and fear. The chill of the night wrapped around me, sharp and biting. I slipped into my car, fingers tightening around the wheel as time seemed to stretch endlessly. My thoughts spiraled back to that moment, each detail haunting me, each glance electric and forbidden. Text the way her body leaned into him. Text his smile held secrets, a warmth that ignited something deep within her, a fleeting moment that felt both exhilarating and wrong. The way her eyes sparkled, oh, those eyes, held a light I thought I'd lost forever. Thrill. I drove home, my heart racing, lost in a whirlwind of emotions I dared not confront. My hands trembled as I turned the key in the lock. I stepped inside, the silence wrapping around me like a heavy shroud, a reminder of what was lost. Jayla didn't even realize I had slipped away. It struck me like a thunderbolt, leaving my heart racing and breathless. She never sought me out. She never reached out. She seemed lost in the excitement of the moment. I lingered in our living room, my gaze fixed on the framed memories of us that adorn the walls. Frozen memories linger, taunting my heart. The secret getaway to the mountains. Those Christmas mornings, wrapped in blankets, our laughter echoing like a secret we dared to share. A secret escape to Greece, where love blooms under the sun's warm embrace. I brushed my fingers across my skin, inhaling the weight of the moment. I craved a moment to gather my thoughts. Yet, one truth lingered in the air, undeniable and electric. What we shared, what I believed was ours, had come to an end. The knock echoed softly in the stillness of the morning. Whispered secrets linger in the air, a fragile connection that feels both exhilarating and wrong. Unsure, I turned away, heart racing, pretending it didn't matter. Then another knock echoed through the silence. Whisper it again, but with more urgency. I let out a breath, heavy with unspoken feelings. My heart raced as recognition washed over me. I pushed the door ajar, my heart racing. Jayla lingered on the porch, her heart racing, a fragile light in her eyes. Eyes rimmed in red. Mascara running like the tears of a heart torn between desire and consequence. Her hair was a mess. Her dress from the night before, a lingering reminder of the choices made. Tyler, she whispered, her voice raw. Please. I didn't say anything. Just leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. She swallowed, blinking rapidly. You left. I didn't see you. I looked for you, I swear. But you. Stop. I cut in, my voice cold. Just tell me the truth. Her lower lip trembled. I waited. She looked down, hands twisting together. It's not what you think, she murmured. It was just a moment. Just a moment. I laughed. A harsh, humorless sound. Jayla. I stood there and watched you melt into another man's arms. That wasn't a moment. It was a decision that tugged at the heart, a moment that felt both thrilling and wrong. Her eyes brimmed with unshed tears. I was lost in the haze of the night. I lost myself in the moment. I turned away, my heart racing. No, your intentions were crystal clear. Whispers of longing linger in the air. She took a step closer, her hand trembling as it reached for mine. I took a step back, my heart racing. Her breath caught in her throat. Tyler, I need you. My heart aches for you. I exhaled softly, meeting her gaze with an intensity that left no room for denial. Every whispered secret. Not like this, Jayla. You adore the thought of me. Your heart finds solace in the safety I offer. Your presence is my solace, a secret comfort in the chaos of life. She shook her head fiercely, tears cascading down her cheeks. That's a lie. It was a moment we shouldn't have shared. No, I whispered, my heart racing. Forgetting an anniversary feels like a heart-wrenching betrayal, a silent echo of what once was. A mistake is igniting a fire within. What you did was wrong, yet it ignited something deep within me that I can't ignore. It was a decision that tugged at the heart, a moment that felt both thrilling and wrong. Her expression shattered. I can't bear the thought of letting you go. I gazed at her, the woman who had captured my heart for so long, and all I felt was a deep, aching weariness. I already told you, I whispered, and shut the door softly behind me. She struck it fiercely, tears streaming down her cheeks. I turned my back, and in that moment, a rush of liberation washed over me like a secret thrill. The muffled cries seeped through the door, a haunting melody of heartache. I lingered for a heartbeat, feeling the tide of her regret surge against the wooden frame, relentless and aching, like waves yearning to break free. Yet, I chose to leave it untouched. Not just yet. I needed her to sense this longing. I needed her to see that every choice she made could change everything between us. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the sobs quieted, a soft thump against the door. She had slid down onto the porch, defeated. Tyler, her voice was hoarse, broken. Please, just talk to me. I exhaled slowly, not out of hesitation, but out of sheer exhaustion. I had barely slept. I had barely thought beyond the last 12 hours. So, against my better judgment, I opened the door. She flinched at the sudden movement, looking up at me with wide, desperate eyes. Her makeup was ruined, her lips trembling. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had stood next to another man just hours ago, soaking in his attention, basking in his presence. For the first time, I realized my perspective had completely changed. Talk, I said, my voice devoid of warmth. She sniffled, wiped at her face with the back of her hand, and tried to compose herself, but there was no fixing this. No amount of carefully chosen words would glue back together what she had shattered. I don't know how it happened, she started, her voice weak. I swear to God, Tyler, I wasn't planning on it. He's just someone from work. We've worked together for years, and it was never like this before. But things changed, and I don't know why. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to stay silent. He started flirting with me a few months ago, she continued, eyes darting between my face and the floor, like she couldn't bear to look at me for too long. At first, it was harmless, just stupid office banter. But then, I don't know, I guess I liked the attention. And last night, her voice cracked. Last night was the first time it went too far. I let out a bitter laugh. The first time? Is that supposed to make it better? Asked, like I should be grateful you didn't screw him sooner? Her face contorted with shame. No, I mean, God, Tyler, I'm just trying to tell you the truth. I don't want to lose you. I don't think I can see this the same way anymore. She shook her head violently. No, it's not. Please, we can fix this. I love you. I love you so much. I made a mistake, but that's all it was, a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I exhaled slowly, gripping the doorframe to keep myself from exploding. Jayla, mistakes are unintentional. What happened was a choice. A mistake is forgetting your anniversary. But what you did, that wasn't a mistake. Her eyes widened in horror, realizing where this was going. That was a choice. I finished. Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. She shook her head, tears spilling over again. Please, you're my husband. We've been together for so long. Don't throw that away over one mistake. I felt something inside me snap. I'm not throwing anything away, I said, my voice eerily calm. You did. She whimpered, reaching out to grab my wrist, but I pulled away. The sight of her broke me in a way I wasn't prepared for, because a part of me, the foolish, naive part, still wanted to believe her, still wanted to cling to the idea that she was my Jayla, the woman I had married, the woman I had spent years building a life with. But she wasn't that woman anymore. The person I thought I knew had faded the moment she chose another path. I need time, I said finally. I don't want to see you right now. She opened her mouth to argue, but something in my face stopped her. I stepped back into the house, watching as realization settled into her bones. Where do I go? She whispered. I didn't answer. I just shut the door. The reflection. I spent the rest of the day alone. Couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think straight. I wandered from room to room, my home now feeling like a museum of a life that no longer existed. Everywhere I looked, I saw pieces of her. Her jacket draped over the couch, her favorite mug still on the kitchen counter, her perfume lingering in the air. I wanted to scream, to rip it all apart. Instead, I grabbed my phone. I had one last thread to pull. The unexpected message. I wasn't sure what I was expecting when I messaged Damien, the man from the party. Perhaps I was longing for a sign. Perhaps I craved the moment he would confess, just so I could flaunt it before Jayla. Or perhaps I was simply curious to know if he could deceive me as well. I sent him a message, my heart racing with every word. How long have you been sharing her heart with me? The reply arrived in a heartbeat. What is this? Who are you? I clenched my jaw. Don't pretend you don't know. Last night, I caught a glimpse of you both. The way your fingers brushed against her skin sent a shiver through me. A heavy silence lingered between them. And then, I promise, I had no idea she belonged to someone else. I bit my lip, my heart racing as my fingers lingered just above the screen. Just as I was about to respond, another message flashed on the screen, pulling me deeper into the moment. She whispered that she was no longer tied to him, that you two had been separated for months, longing for each other in silence. The room swayed, a dizzying blur of longing and unspoken words. My breath hitched, a secret longing stirring within me. Stop, please, just stop. I pored over the words repeatedly, desperate to twist their meaning into something more than what they were. Yet, they held back. Jayla's deception cut deeper than I ever imagined. It was a secret she had nurtured in the quiet corners of her heart, building a secret world while feigning affection for me. My hands tightened into trembling fists. This was more than a fleeting lapse in judgment. This was a betrayal that had lingered in the shadows for far too long. My thoughts spun in a dizzying dance. Desire and despair entwined in a silent struggle. And in that moment, All the fragile dreams unraveled. This was a woman caught in a moment that felt both right and wrong. She was a woman on the brink, her heart yearning for freedom, yet tangled in a web of unspoken desires. She simply hadn't found the courage to share it with me. But now, everything feels different. Now, it was my turn to decide, knowing the weight of what lay ahead. And I was determined to make her feel the weight of her mistake, to ensure she never forgot the moment she underestimated me. Betrayal seeps into the heart, a bitter poison that lingers long after the wound has closed. At first, it trickles through your veins, a gentle ache that dulls the world around you. But when it touches your heart, that's when the true ache starts. The soft glow of my phone illuminated the shadows around me as I lingered on Damien's words, each one searing into my heart. She whispered to me that she was no longer with him, that you had been separated for months, each day a silent ache between you. My heart ached, searching for the fleeting moment she chose to let go of us. When did she begin to change the narrative of us? When did she start to drift away from our love, leaving me unaware of her secret journey? My jaw tightened, a storm of emotions brewing within me. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't a mistake. Jayla had planned this. And now, I needed to decide how to move forward. The first step? Exposing the truth. I knew Jayla would be expecting me to sulk, to retreat into myself while she begged and cried and convinced me to forgive her. She thought she still had control. She was wrong. I felt that Blakely deserved to know the truth. Damien's wife. It wasn't hard to find her. A quick search on social media, and there she was. A beautiful woman with warm eyes and 2 kids under 6. A woman who, like me, had no idea she was being played. I hesitated for only a moment before hitting dial. Hello. Her voice was polite, cautious. Blakely, my name is Tyler. I exhaled sharply. I don't know how to say this, but I think you need to know that your husband has been having an affair with my wife, Jayla. Silence. I could hear her breathing, sharp and uneven. Are you sure? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I saw them together last night, I said, and I confronted Damien. He admitted to it, but said Jayla told him we were separated. A harsh breath escaped her. That son of a... She cut herself off, and when she spoke again, her voice was eerily calm. Do you have proof? Oh, I had proof. I sent her the pictures from the party. The ones I had taken when Jayla thought I wasn't looking. She didn't respond for a long time, and then, thank you. Leave the rest to me. There was something in her voice. Something that told me Damien was about to regret ever touching my wife. And that was just the beginning. The second step. Cutting her off. I wasn't the type of man to destroy someone out of spite. But I also wasn't the type to let someone walk all over me. Jayla thought she could keep me as a backup plan while she explored her options. She thought she could hold on to the comfort of our marriage while indulging in her secret life. That ended now. I spent the next few hours working on what mattered most, ensuring she had nothing left to hold on to. Jayla had always relied on me financially. Sure, she worked, but I had built our life, our home, our savings. So I locked her out. I froze our joint credit cards, moved every last dime from our shared savings into my account, and contacted a lawyer to start drafting divorce papers. When I was done, I sent Jayla a message. Me, you have 2 days to collect your things. After that, your key won't work. Her reply came almost immediately. Jayla, Tyler, please. Don't do this. We can fix this. Me, we? There is no we. There's just you and your bad decisions. Jayla, I made a mistake. I love you. I don't want to lose you. I smiled bitterly. Me, you lost me the moment you told him we were separated. She didn't reply. She knew she was caught. The final step. Letting her fall. The real fun began that evening. Blakely had done exactly what I hoped she would. She confronted Damien at his office. Apparently, she had stormed in during a meeting, slammed the pictures onto the conference table, and demanded to know why he had thrown away their marriage for a woman who couldn't even be honest about her own. Damien, in his infinite arrogance, had tried to deny it until Blakely handed him divorce papers right there in front of his colleagues. But the real kicker, Blakely had the power to stand up for herself in ways I never anticipated. By the end of the day, the truth had consequences beyond what he expected. Blakely took control of her life and made a decisive choice for her future. And Jayla? She was about to get her own taste of karma. The fallout. It happened the next morning. A frantic banging on my door. I opened it to find Jayla standing there, hysterical. Her hair was a mess, her eyes bloodshot. Tyler, she gasped. Please, I need to talk to you. I crossed my arms. You have 2 minutes. Her hands trembled. Damien lost his job. Blakely is leaving him. Everything is changing so fast. She looked up at me, realization dawning. Did you do this? I tilted my head. I didn't force you to sleep with another man. I didn't tell you to lie to him about our marriage. I didn't tell Blakely to destroy his career. That was all you. She choked back a sob. I don't have anywhere to go. And there it was. She had been so sure she could keep everything, that she could gamble with our marriage and still walk away with a safety net. But she had lost. And now she was alone. I didn't say anything. I took a step back, heart racing, and quietly closed the door behind me. Her cries lingered in the hallway, a haunting melody of longing and despair. Yet, I couldn't bring myself to turn around. For the first time in ages, I felt a rush of freedom, tinged with a thrill that was almost dangerous. Dear listeners, I long to hear your whispers in the comments. Please, let your hearts connect by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our little haven.